Welcome to another installment of Dark Crime Story. In today's episode, we examine the puzzling and tragic story of a retiree whose first international adventure ended in tragedy. We dive into the unsettling circumstances of her death and consider the possible role of her envious husband. Ethel Breen Entivio, a lively 68-year-old retiree from Elo, Oklahoma, was brimming with excitement in May 1998 as she prepared for her much-anticipated maiden trip overseas. A member of the Silver and Sexy Women's Empowerment Group, Ethel eagerly joined her companions on a journey to Kyoto, Japan, a destination she had always dreamed of visiting. Having spent years as a dedicated mother of 4 and grandmother to 11, Ethel longed to witness the breathtaking landscapes of mountains and oceans. Her vibrant spirit and endless curiosity endeared her to everyone in her life. Ethel was known for her infectious positivity, spreading joy and laughter wherever she went. The enthusiasm surrounding her upcoming trip was shared by everyone she knew. She took great care in packing her belongings, ensuring every item was thoughtfully prepared for her long-awaited adventure. Her excitement was felt by all who crossed her path, and her trip became a source of inspiration for others in her community. The Silver and Sexy group crafted a detailed itinerary that included visits to renowned sites like the Fushimi Inari Shrine and opportunities to savor authentic Japanese dishes. Ethel, with her fearless attitude, was eager to fully immerse herself in every cultural experience Kyoto had in store. While her friends and family celebrated her journey, one person remained less than thrilled: her husband, Earl. Beneath the surface, simmering jealousy and resentment began to cast a shadow over their relationship, setting the stage for the tragic events that would follow Ethel to Japan. Increasingly jealous and possessive. In the weeks leading up to the trip, Ethel became a local celebrity, as wishers and porters saw her off at the airport. With heartfelt well wishes, sadly they would never see her again on a fateful day in May 1998, Ethel's dream trip took a dark turn. Her disappearance left her family and friends in despair. Months passed with no trace of her whereabouts, until a shocking discovery was made 6 long months later at a landfill in Akihabara, Tokyo, 10 miles from her intended destination, Kyoto, 230 miles away. The person who accidentally discovered Ethel's lifeless body was none other than Sakura Aiha, a 92-year-old garbage collector. Sakura, a frail but observant woman, known for her keen eyes and unwavering dedication to her job, was going about her daily routine when she noticed something unusual among the piles of garbage as she approached. A sense of dread washed over her as she realized that she had accidentally discovered a human body hidden in an ordinary garbage bag. The shock and horror that Sakura experienced at that moment was indescribable. Without hesitation, Sakura immediately contacted the authorities, starting a chain of events that would uncover the truth behind Ethel's untimely death. The discovery of Ethel's body sent shockwaves throughout the community, leaving everyone wondering how such a tragedy could have happened. The news of Ethel's tragic death spread like wildfire, attracting the attention of the entire 2 countries. The media covered the story extensively, leaving no stone unturned in their search for answers. Speculation ran rampant, with theories ranging from a botched robbery to a jealous husband seeking revenge. And amidst a bustling city, fascinated by silver screen mysteries, the investigation into the deaths of Ethel Breen and Tio began. The truth was out in the open, waiting to be discovered. The police quickly arrived at the crime scene, determined to uncover the truth behind Ethel's tragic death. A team of FBI agents known for their expertise in solving complex cases approached the crime scene in Akihabara, Tokyo, with a sense of urgency and caution. The scene was horrifying. With the body of A was to look for any clues or traces that could lead them to the person responsible for this heinous actions. Investigators discovered a knife inside the bag, which was likely the murder weapon. The grisly nature of the crime sent shockwaves through the community. The knife was collected and carefully preserved as evidence, as it could provide valuable insights into the identity of the perpetrator. In the search for answers, investigators interviewed witnesses and reviewed surveillance footage from nearby establishments. They meticulously analyzed each frame in the hopes of catching a glimpse of any suspicious activity. that may have occurred on the day Ethel went missing. The media quickly picked up on the investigation, and news outlets across Oklahoma began reporting on the case. The local newspaper, the Illinois Gazette, ran front-page articles detailing the shocking discovery of the ongoing police investigation. Television news stations such as Channel 5 Live News dedicated segments to the case, calling for anyone with information is urged to come forward as police continue their tireless efforts to piece together the events that led to Ethel's untimely death. They have traced her movements, examined her movements, and contacted other members of the Silver and Sexy women's group she was involved with. Investigators hope that by understanding Ethel's activities in the days before her disappearance, they may uncover any motives or potential suspects. The investigation into the tragic death of Ethel Breen Andio has taken a shocking turn. The investigation as her husband, Earl Enio, becomes the prime suspect. Earl, then 72, had shown signs of jealousy and control over his wife, resenting her newfound independence and deeply unhappy about her decision to embark on an international trip without him and his control. The police wasted no time in questioning Earl in the hope of uncovering any motives or evidence, any potential involvement in Ethel's murder. Earl's reaction to the intense interrogation was one of anger and frustration. He vehemently denied any wrongdoing, claiming that he had nothing to do with Ethel's untimely death. However, he blamed Silver and the group that organized Ethel's trip. He angrily claimed it was a feminist lesbian group dedicated to communism. But there was no evidence for his claims while Earl was present in Oklahoma. At the time of Ethel's disappearance, the FBI continued to investigate this possibility of his involvement. They suspected that Earl's feelings of jealousy and desire for control drove him to take such a drastic step. They theorized that Earl May orchestrated the crime remotely using an intermediary, such as a hired assassin, to carry out the sinister act. The investigation is now focused on identifying this potential accomplice and gathering evidence to support their theory. Investigating the pill has gone deep into Earl's background, meticulously examined his past and present. They interviewed friends, family members, and neighbors in the hope of uncovering any clues that could shed light on his personality and potential involvement. The FBI also contacted international law enforcement agencies based in Japan to seek assistance across the Pacific and trace any suspicious activity involving Earl or those who might be his associates. Valerie Val Jenkins, 59, a tour guide and leader of the Silver and Sexy group that has emerged as a notable person in the puzzling case surrounding the death of Ethber Antivo Val, a woman with a charming demeanor and a gift for persuasion who presented herself as an ally to the investigation. However, hidden behind her friendly exterior, the FBI agents investigating the case could not help but sense a more calculating and potentially sinister side to her. Val's role as a tour guide gave her access to vital information about the group's itinerary and the personal lives of the members as she took them across the Pacific to Japan. Her ambition and opportunistic nature was evident in her tendency to exploit people's weaknesses for personal gain. She had a reputation for manipulating situations to her advantage, leaving those around her none the wiser during the investigation. The police dug deeper into V's background, uncovering a web of suspicious contacts and activities. They discovered that Val had a history of questionable financial dealings, including instances of embezzlement and fraud. These findings raised suspicions about her potential involvement in Ethel's untimely death. FBI agents meticulously examined Val's alibi for the time of Ethel's disappearance. They scrutinized her travel records, interviewed witnesses, and cross-referencing her whereabouts with the events of October 1998. In the process, they stumbled upon an intriguing clue. A witness, a woman who worked at a maid cafe in Akihabara, came forward with a crucial piece of information that she claimed to have seen Val near the dumpster in Akihabara, Tokyo, where Ethel's remains were eventually discovered. The witness recounted that she had seen Val hastily throwing away a bag. Upon closer inspection, there were bloodstains. The police immediately seized on this clue, focusing their attention on Val's potential involvement in Ethel's murder. They conducted a thorough search of Val's residence and discovered evidence that links her to the crime scene. Among the items discovered is a knife with traces of Ethel's DNA and a travel itinerary, that points to Val's presence in Tokyo at the time of the murder. Despite overwhelming evidence against Val, she maintains her innocence, denying any connection to Ethel's death, however. The events and circumstances surrounding the case continue to cast a shadow over her claim of innocence in the thrilling investigation into the tragic deaths of Eth Breen and Teo. A shocking revelation that the FBI agents assigned to the case stumble upon a shocking revelation. They uncover a dark secret hidden behind the innocent appearance of the Silver and Sexy group that Ethel joined on her first international trip. It turns out that this group, headed by Valerie Val Jenkins, is not what it appears to be in a shocking twist. FBI agents discover that Silver and Sexy is in fact a sex trafficking organization. This criminal group preys on vulnerable, naive older women, especially those from the Midwest, who are lured in with the promise of adventure and empowerment. These gullible women have no idea that they are being lured into a network of deception and exploitation that has existed in Japan. Older American women, who are widely considered to have high sexual appetites in Japan, are tricked into sex trafficking. They are taken away from their journeys and their loved ones thousands of miles away and sold at secret auctions. It is a terrifying reality that Ethel too fell victim to. As the investigation goes deeper, FBI agents discover a criminal network involved in this heinous activity. They have meticulously gathered evidence from many other sources, each including witness testimony, financial records, and intercepted communications. Each piece of evidence brought them closer to exposing the true extent of the sex trafficking ring and the individual responsible for Ethel's untimely death. News of the sex trafficking ring's dismantling spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of the media and the public. It became a prominent topic of discussion, shedding light on the dark side of human trafficking and the vulnerability of older women in society. The case served as a catalyst to raise awareness and efforts to combat this global problem. In October 1998, Ethel's tragic death became a symbol of the fight against human trafficking. Inspiring countless individuals to stand up against this grave injustice during the investigation, Ethel Breen and Teo's murder, a new suspect emerged, Dr. Kinuya Uzumaki, a 27-year-old psychiatrist with injustice, whose secretive demeanor hidden, who was also the person Ethel was sold to for 130,000 yen, or about $1,300. Dr. Uzumaki possesses exceptional analytical skills and a keen understanding of human behavior, making him a notable figure in this puzzling case, as he is believed to be the last person to see Ethel alive. Dr. Uzumaki's involvement raised eyebrows among investigators who sought to uncover his motives and determine his potential role in the crime. Police questioned Dr. Uzumaki in hopes of peeling back the layers and exposing the truth behind his connection to Ethel's untimely death. During the interrogation, Dr. Uzumaki remained quietly enigmatic, skillfully manipulating emotions and perceptions. His calculated reactions left investigators with more questions than answers. Despite his calm demeanor, investigators were determined to uncover the truth through their meticulous investigation. The FBI agents discovered that Dr. Uzumaki had connections to Ethel. In addition to being her psychiatrist, they found evidence that Dr. Uzumaki was a regular client of a sex trafficking organization called Silver and Sexy that had deceived Ethel and the unsuspecting older women. Silver and Sexy was not the women's empowerment group it claimed to be, but instead, the organization preyed for vulnerable women, luring them to Japan under false pretenses once there. These women would be auctioned off thousands of miles away from their friends and family. In the months after Ethel's disappearance, she fell victim to this heinous practice. Dr. Uzumaki was the man to whom Ethel was sold. He kept her locked up in a stable with other women he had bought. This further complicated his and her murder. Investigators were shocked by this revelation, as it added further complexity to the ongoing investigation. The truth behind the tragic deaths of Ethel Breen and Tevo is slowly coming to light. Police, with the help of FBI agents, are determined to piece together the puzzle and bring justice to Ethel and the other victims of this horrific crime. In a shocking turn of events, finally, this heinous act was discovered by none other than Valerie Val Jenkins, the leader of the Silver and Sexy women group. Val Jenkins, a 59-year-old tour guide and travel agent, carefully built a charming and friendly appearance. Little did she know that behind this appearance, Val was running a secret sex trafficking operation under the guise of silver and sexy. Val had lured dozens of gullible older women like Ethel into her web of evil. The investigation into Ethel's disappearance led the police to uncover the shocking truth about Val's organization. It was revealed that Silver and Sexy was not the empowering women's group they claimed to be, but a front for a dark operation. FBI agents assigned to investigate the case discovered that Val's organization was involved in trafficking older American women to Japan, where they would be sold as slaves and auctioned off to the highest bidder. Unfortunately, Ethel fell victim. Val's cruel intentions after escaping the clutches of Dr. Kinuya Uzumaki, a mysterious psychiatrist and another suspect in the Ethel case, who threatened Val's operation out of fear that Ethel would expose the truth. Val had staged her murder by stabbing her and dumping her body in a common garbage bag in Akihabara, Tokyo, miles away from where Ethel was suspected. The police, through meticulous investigation and advanced forensic techniques, gathered enough evidence to link Val to the crime. Val's arrest sent shockwaves through both the perpetrator and the victim's family. The carefully constructed facade that Val had maintained for so long crumbled in the face of overwhelming evidence. Val Jenkins' arrest serves as a reminder of the dark side that can exist beneath seemingly innocent organizations, a testament to the dedication and perseverance of the investigators who worked tirelessly to bring justice to Ethel and her family after when Valerie Val Jenkins was arrested. The trial that followed was a momentous event. The trial took place in the small town of Eleno, Oklahoma. The courtroom was filled with anticipation as the Canadian county prosecutor presented a compelling case against Val. Highlighting the brutal nature of her crimes, the defense, represented by renowned attorney Juniper Smith-Lasser, attempted to cast doubt on the evidence and create reasonable doubt. The trial began on a cold morning in October, exactly 1 year after Ethel Breen and Tivo's bodies were discovered in a landfill in Akihabara, Tokyo. The prosecution meticulously presented their case, calling witnesses and presenting evidence that painted a grim picture of Val's involvement in the sex trade. They presented photos of unsuspecting women, including Ethel, who had fallen victim to Val's fraudulent scheme. The defense, led by Juniper Smith-Lasser, argued that Val was not directly involved in the murder of Ethel, and the evidence against her was circumstantial. Smith questioned the credibility of the prosecution's witnesses, claiming that they had ulterior motives or were coerced into testifying against Val. He even questioned the methods used by the FBI during the investigation, claiming that they mishandled key evidence throughout the trial. The victim's family sat in the front row. Their eyes were filled with sadness and anger. They listened intently to every testimony, reliving the pain of losing their loved one, Ethel. The media frenzy surrounding the trial was intense, with reporters from local newspapers and television stations covering every detail. National news channels also covered the news, focusing their attention on the small town of Eleno. After weeks of testimony and arguments, the jury finally reached a verdict. The tension in the courtroom became evident as the judge read the jury's decision. Val Jenkins was found guilty of murder and sex trafficking. Leaving the onlookers stunned, the courtroom exploded in a mixture of emotions, some cheering for justice. While others mourned the loss of Ethel and the horrors she endured, the judge took into account the severity of the crime and her vow of no remorse, sentencing her to life in prison without parole. The impact of the sentence affected the lives of the victims' friends and family, bringing them a sense of closure. However, the scars left by V's actions would forever change their perceptions of the justice system and their trust in others. After the trial, the town of El Reno came together to heal and support the victim's family. Community organizations organized fundraisers and support groups to aid in their recovery. The media continued to follow the story, shining a light on the issue of sex trafficking and the need for stronger measures to combat this heinous crime. After the trial ended in October 1999, those involved in the case had to find a way to move forward and rebuild their lives, including suspects, police, and family members affected by the tragic events surrounding the murders of Ethel Breen and Tio. Suspects in the case have faced the consequences of their alleged involvement. Erin Tivio, Ethel's husband was cleared of all charges following the trial despite initial suspicion surrounding him. Evidence presented in court did not prove his guilt. Earl, a retired mechanic, returned to his quiet life in Eleno, Oklahoma. To try to forget his grief, Dr. Kinuya Uzumaki, a mysterious psychiatrist who was the last person to see Ethel alive, faced intense scrutiny throughout the trial. His exceptional analytical skills and keen understanding of human behavior made him an attractive suspect. However, the evidence against him was circumstantial, and he attempted to maintain his innocence. Dr. Uzumaki continued to practice as a psychiatrist in Japan, but the cloud of doubt still hangs over him. As time passes, the wounds begin to heal. Albeit slowly, Ethel's family finds solace in each other, in the support of friends and neighbors. They hold a memorial service in Ethel's honor, inviting the community to come together and remember the vibrant woman she was. The conclusion is the conclusion of the case of Ethel Breen and the tragic death of Tivo during an overseas trip to Kyoto. Japan exposes a web of deception, jealousy, and manipulation. The investigation into her murder exposed the dark side of silver and sensuality. A sex trafficking organization preying on vulnerable older women through the dedication of law enforcement and the resilience of the victim's family. Justice has finally been served. Ethel's memory lives on, as a reminder of the importance of seeking the truth and fighting back against the forces that seek to exploit the innocent. A true crime case. Solvers matter. Are interested in discovering more murder mysteries in life? Remember to like and subscribe to our channel. And what do you think about this case, or have your own case that you want us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Until then, stay safe through Crime Solvers.